So we hear about AI all the time, right? But what does it actually do, like in the real world? That's what we're going to do today. We're going to peel back the layers and see what's really going on. We'll look at how it learns to see, how it gets our language, and even how it kind of predicts the future. All right, let's dive in.
And really, this is the big question, isn't it? I mean, how does a bunch of code suddenly learn to see or read or even guess what's next? It's a really cool journey, and we're going to kick things off with a sense we all use constantly: our sight.
Okay, first up, how AI learns to see. And we're talking about more than just, recognizing a photo. It's way deeper than that. It's about understanding what's in the picture and pulling out stuff that's actually useful. To get a feel for this, let's look at a really common problem.
Okay, so picture this. You snap a photo of a street sign, or maybe a business card. All that super useful info, the phone number or the address, it's just stuck. It's trapped inside that image file. You can't copy and paste it, you can't search for it, it's just a bunch of pixels. So how in the world does AI break that text free? Well, the solution is something called optical character recognition, or OCR for short. Yeah, it's a mouthful, but its job is pretty simple. Just think of it as the AI's ability to read. It scans the image, figures out the shapes of all the letters and numbers, and bam, it turns those pixels back into text you can actually use. If you've ever used your phone to translate a menu while on vacation, yeah, that's the magic of OCR right there. And look, this is so much more than just a cool party trick. This has some massive real-world impacts. I'm talking about digitizing whole libraries, making millions of books searchable for the first time ever. Or think about businesses saving countless hours because they can automatically process invoices instead of having someone type them all out. It's just a huge win for efficiency and making information accessible to everyone.
Now, this is super important. There's a big difference between an AI knowing what's in a picture and knowing where it is. So, image classification is like the AI saying, yep, that's a car. But object detection, that's way more specific. It actually draws a little box around the car and says, the car is right here. And you can see why this is so critical, right? A self-driving car needs to know the exact location of a person, not just that there's a person somewhere on the street. Big difference.
Okay, so we've gone from an AI that just sees the world to one that actually creates things for it. You've probably heard of tools like Dall-E or Midjourney. These can cook up brand new images just from a few words you type in. Or you can use them to tweak photos you already have, or even create a bunch of different versions of one idea. This is the whole creative side of AI vision, and man, it is moving fast. All right, so AI can see, check. But what about understanding the words we use, human language? That's what we're diving into next.
Okay, just look at this customer review here. For us, it's obvious, right? This person is happy. We get that positive vibe instantly. But how does a machine figure that out? It can't feel happy or frustrated. So how does it actually measure that emotion?
The secret here is something called sentiment analysis. It's basically an AI tool that reads through text, finds those key emotional words like fantastic or amazing, and then gives it a score. Is it positive, negative, or just neutral? And for a business trying to sift through thousands of customer reviews, wow, this is an unbelievably powerful tool.
But wait a second. Before an AI can do any of this cool stuff, analyze feelings, spot objects, you name it, it has to learn first. And that all happens through a process called machine learning, which it turns out comes in a few different flavors. This chart here breaks down the three big ones really nicely. First, you've got regression. That's all about predicting a specific number. Think, what will a house with this many bedrooms sell for? Then there's classification. This is about sorting things into categories, like, is this email spam or not spam? Super simple. And finally, there's clustering. This one's like a detective. It looks at all your data and finds natural groups you might not have even known were there, like different types of shoppers. And all of this leads us to one of AI's most mind-blowing abilities, taking all that data and using it to predict what might happen next. So let's say you want to teach a machine to predict something. Anything. Where do you even begin? What are the basic building blocks it needs to start learning? Well, it really comes down to just two key things: features and a label. The easiest way to think about it is like a recipe. The features are all your ingredients, all the different pieces of information you give the AI. And the label? That's the final dish. It's the one thing you're trying to predict. Let's make this real with a healthcare example. Say you want to predict someone's risk for diabetes.
The features, our ingredients, could be things like the patient's age and their body fat percentage. And the label, the dish we're trying to make, is the likelihood of developing diabetes. The AI looks at thousands of past patient records to find the patterns, to learn the connection between those ingredients and the final outcome. That's how it gets good at making predictions for new people. Okay, we've seen some of the amazing things AI can do. But now we have to talk about what might be the most important piece of the puzzle, making sure we build and use this stuff responsibly.
I mean, having the power to see, understand, and predict, that's huge. It comes with a ton of responsibility. So what are the rules of the road? What are the guardrails we need to put in place to make sure this tech is actually helpful and safe for everyone?
Well, a lot of the big tech companies have put some serious thought into this. Here you can see Microsoft's main principles for responsible AI. And these aren't just, corporate buzzwords. They're meant to be the actual foundation for building AI systems that we can trust, especially when those systems are making big decisions that affect our lives. But I get it. Words like fairness can sound kind of vague. So let's grab that one and make it really concrete. Let's see what it actually looks like in the real world.
Okay, this is where it gets real. Let's talk about loan applications. A biased AI might look at old data, which unfortunately contains all sorts of human biases, and it might start unfairly penalizing people because of their gender or race. A fair AI system, on the other hand, is built specifically to avoid that. It's designed and tested to only look at what actually matters, the financial stuff. That way, everyone is judged by the same rules. That's what putting a principle like fairness into practice really means.
So at the end of the day, AI is just a tool. A really, really powerful tool. Maybe one of the most powerful we've ever created. We've seen that it can see, it can understand, it can even predict. But just like any other tool, what really matters is how we decide to use it. The choices we're making right now about how we build this stuff, how we use it, are going to shape our world for a long, long time. And that final question, that's not just for the tech experts. That's a question for every single one of us.